Hello and welcome back. This is chapter 2.3, and in this chapter we are reviewing how to graph the equation of lines. By the end of this series of videos, you will be able to graph a line in slope-intercept form without making a table. You'll be able to graph a line in standard form by finding the x and y intercepts, and you will also be able to graph horizontal and vertical lines. That should actually have and vertical there. Horizontal and vertical lines. So let's jump in and sort of talk a little bit about this thing called a parent function. So a parent function is the most basic function that you can find in a family of functions, right? A family of functions is a group that shares some characteristics. So for example, the parent function for a linear function is y equals x. Linear functions form a line, and all lines share certain characteristics. The main one being here that they have a constant rate of change. So this graph over here, the y equals x, is a line that goes through the origin and goes straight through this direction. We can make a table to prove that. If x is 1, then that means that y is 1. If x is 0, then y is 0. The only way to make that a true statement, if x is 3, is if y were also 3. So you can see that it would hit all of these points on this line that goes through the origin here. Now, we have lots of other types of linear functions that are just they're really this same kind of line, but they differ in a few things. For example, how quickly they are increasing or decreasing might be different. You might have a line that is quickly decreasing, and that's going to change the parent function. It changes the way this equation looks. You might have lines that go through a different y-intercept and maybe just go up positive just slightly, something like this. Again, this is a line. It's going to be some changes based on this parent function of y equals x. So we have this form called slope-intercept form, which you've seen before, which is defined as y equals mx plus b, where the m represents the slope of the function, and the b represents the y-intercept. So when we go to graph these linear functions, there are going to be changes on that overall parent function based on the slope and the y-intercept. We can see that the number that is multiplying the x is our slope. So we say y equals 2x here. Well, the slope is 2. Notice there's no change in the b, so that's going to stay at 0. But instead of going up 1, right 1, a slope of 2 tells us to go up 2, down 1. Because remember, slope is the change in y over the change in x. So this tells us to go up 2, right 1. And I'm going to continue to make that pattern in both directions. Notice in the other direction it's down 2, left 1. How it's the opposite of the given slope that's right there. But it continues making the same line. And so all of these points on the line are being created because of this slope of 2. And again, remember, a line is just, it is a bunch of points, right? I could have just drawn this line as point. It's what we would have gotten if we'd have plugged in 0.5. We would have gotten 1 and put the point right there. So the line just is all of the points that we're seeing. So this up here is changing our slope. If we look at this example on the right, this number over here, the one that we're adding on, changes the y-intercept. So instead of crossing at 0, this one is going to cross at positive 3. Now the slope is 1, so that tells me to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and also down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. So this one's increasing at the same rate as our parent function, but it crosses at positive 3 instead of 0. Now, we could do combinations of that, where we take both changes in the slope and the y-intercept. So here, for this particular function, we have the slope equal to negative 2/3, and we have the y-intercept equal to negative 1. Again, the number multiplying the x is my slope. The number being added or subtracted, it's my y-intercept, that's plus b. So 2/3 in that. And then remember that this means, because of this negative right here, it means we're going down 2 and right 3. Negative 2, positive 3. We could also do the opposite and go up 2 and left 3. Either of those works. So let's go ahead and graph that. That is really awkward line. Forget I did that. Sometimes I gotta get used to using my pad here. All right, cool. And so my y-intercept is negative 1. I put that there. And then I need to use my slope, where I go either down 2, right 3, or up 2, left 3. But notice, either way that I go, I'm putting points on the same line. So my line is, I missed, but that's the basic shape of my line right there. All right, I got some practice for you to do, so go ahead and go back to your notes and check that out, and then we'll see these problems in the next video.